Today I'm teaming up with Roland Shaw from Hardcore Racing and Neville Bradshaw to give you 5 ways to turn your YZ125 into a certified rocket ship. Let's go. So down at the track today, and we've got actually three YZ125s. Nev bought one during lockdown. Roland over there is actually a Yamaha dealer, and he's also the owner of Hardcore Racing, and he supplies a load of trick parts like HGS pipes, VHM, V-Force and all that stuff. So his bike is like a factory tuned version of the YZ125. He's got that here, and Harrison Ford over there has also got a YZ125. He's doing some riding today. YZs seem to be really popular at the moment, 125s that is. I've got one at home. On Instagram it seems like everyone's got one at the moment, so we're going to be giving you 5 tips. We're going to be hooking Nev's bike up some trick parts, and he's going to be giving them all a test to see what improvements we can make out on the track. So let's get riding, shall we? Getting on the 125 hype, Nev. You started a bit of a movement here with the YZ125.
I don't know if I started, but there's definitely a movement going on. There's some cool videos going out, guys shooting 125s, and yeah, I think it's pretty sick, you know, like good fun to ride, so let's keep it going, eh?
Tell us what you've done straight away to improve the bike.
Yeah, so basically what I felt the difference was between the KTM and the Yamaha is the KTM had more mid to top and the bike revved on a lot more. So that's basically the difference I found. You didn't have to work the gears as much in the KTM. For the Yamaha, the chassis is amazing, you know, you feel so safe on the bike. You can put the bike wherever you want, and it's got a lot more bottom to mid-end power. You definitely have to work it a bit harder. You've got to be a little bit more precise on your gears. Like, you have to get everything kind of perfect, where on the KTM there's a little bit of leeway where it's got such a broad mid and top, you know, like you can let the bike rev on a lot more. So got the bike stock standard. I think it's a 17 or an 18, I'm not sure. The bike only had about 10 hours on it when I got it, and it had a HGS pipe on it. Like, it was quite roached, but it had a pipe on it. And to be honest, mate, like, I jumped on it the first day. One of my friends got it for me, brought it to a track, and I rode it straight away the first day, didn't change anything. And I was so pumped. You know, like when you buy a bike and sometimes you do the first lap and you're like, oh man, like I don't know about this, or this is going to take some work to get it good. I was like literally stoked straight away, dude. Like, I was really pumped. And then you guys got me in contact with Roland, and he sent me some parts and some specs. So he sent me a HGS pipe, a VHM head, V-Force, and some jetting specs. I went step by step on it. The first thing I did was I put the new HGS exhaust pipe and silencer on. I changed the jetting, so we went quite a bit richer. We went from a 440 main to a 510 main, and we went leaner on the pilot from a 42 to a 40. And man, straight away the bike was way better. I don't know if it's just because, you know, if you put a brand new pipe on, it always feels good. And the jetting really helped. Like, the jetting really made the top end of the bike work good. It brought a bit of meat to the top. Obviously it's a big jump from a 440 to a 510, so I was quite skeptical on that, but 100% it worked. So that's the first thing I did, so that was a positive change. The second thing I did was I put the V-Force on, and the first lap I did with the V-Force, I wasn't too pumped, because I expected like quite a big change, and I didn't really feel any change on the first lap. But I don't know if the bike warmed up or something after that, but then it really, what I felt the V-Force did was exactly what I was hoping to do, was bring a bit more meat into the power. So it brought even a little bit more torque into the bottom and mid-range, but it made the bike rev on a little bit more as well. Kind of like just cleaned it all the way through, which was quite cool. So I was actually quite pumped on that, because I was expecting it to do that, so that was quite cool. And then the last thing I tried was the anti-detonation plug and the plug cap, which I didn't think was going to make a difference, but it did actually. You know, like, it just, every step I made was just making the bike a little bit cleaner all the time, you know. Like, I've definitely made positive improvements every time I did it. I didn't try the head because we needed a special needle for the head. Just now today I managed to get the needle, so we put the needle in, I've put the head on, and I've also put some 250F clutch springs in it just to help with the clutch a bit. And as you can see, the bike sounds amazing, you know, like awesome to ride, got power everywhere you need it. I think we're going to try one more thing today with an ignition. That's the only thing I can think, ignition and fuel, but I'm not going to go to the fuel side, so that'll be the last thing I try. And if it makes it better, then that'll be my bike pretty much sorted, ready.
He's out there doing a hot lap right now on his bike as it came today. And we're going to do some changes with Roland in a minute, change ignitions and things like that. So set the base time now, and then we'll do a second lap time a little later on in the day to see how much he's improved. So let's see, shall we? Coming around to complete the lap here at the track. 141 on the clock, 142. And that's a lap. So what did he get on? It's not a standard YZ125, but it's the bike that he turned up with today before we made any adjustments with Roland on the ignition. And he got 146.70 by my count. So we'll do another lap time later on in the day when we've made some changes. See what difference we can make. Right, Roland, so just tell us what this ignition's supposed to do, what you've just done to his bike here.
Okay, so on the dyno it shows more top and a little bit more rev, but it is all about the power around the peak area. Most riders find that the changes are made off the bottom, even though they don't really show very much on the dyno, do actually show the bike pulling much stronger out the corner. It is a comment that when I sort of give the ignition to people to try, consistently 10, 20 riders, however many people I've done it to now, every single time they come in, yeah, the bike feels better, but the real thing, so where do you think the biggest gains come? They always say off the bottom. So.
Nev's literally just gone out now, like you say, 2-3 laps to get used to the bike and see how he needs to adopt and change his riding style. So we're going to get the stopwatch on in like 2 or 3 laps time. He'll stop and do a hot lap, so we'll see what the results are. Alright, here we go, 146 to beat with the new ignition on. See what time you can get with the new ignition. 146 to beat. I got my 145 there, so about a second quicker. Right, so on the last lap you did before the break, 146, 145.
Yeah, it does feel better. It does feel way better. I'll tell you, the only play it gains a lot. It gains a lot of power, like when you got the bike singing. Like, dude, like it just keeps going and going and going, and you don't have to you can actually change down too many gears. But like, you know, sometimes on a 125 you only change down, but then you got to go straight back up. Yeah. So it takes that better. The only negative I could find on it is it's in 2 places. So, you know, like there's a tabletop there. When you land on the tabletop, like you got to clutch it. Yeah, you got to clutch it to keep it going, and then coming out of that corner there, when you land there, so it's almost like you want to change down a gear almost. Right. It's weird, but then when you get into the meat, like coming down the straights, dude, it's insane actually. And when you keep it like in the sweet spot, mate, like it's got so much more meat all the way through the power. It's just weird. There's like a part like maybe like just over quarter throttle, so like between bottom and mid, that's got like a bit of a flat spot almost, you know. Right. And as soon as you go past that, or you get the revs past that point, then it's sweet. So to sort that out, you have to change down the gear in the air, and I don't really want to be doing that, you know. You want to kind of like land.
It depends how many revs you're actually talking about, because I have got it really quite retarded off the bottom. But we used to do that with them, but just see how this one feels off the bottom and so forth.
Like it's so much cleaner, and you're going forward. It feels like you're going forward a lot. You know, like sometimes the 125 makes like noise, and you're not going anywhere. You're not really like going forward.
You're not making meters.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
feel like
it's got so much more meat, and you're actually going forward on the bike all the time, you know.
Right, so you had another ignition hiding in your pocket then, Roland. This is another one to try out.
This one is more for a slower burn speed fuel. So we'll see how this is responding, because I don't even know what fuel Nev's got in here. But he's kind of giving me a bit of feeling.
Cheap,
different fuel, for different pump gas.
I've got good oil though.
What have you got?
Dude, there's only one way to go. Model 800.
Yeah, the kitty.
Yeah.
Right, let's give this a whirl then.
Yeah.
I'll do another, I'll time this again.
With a proper fuel. Burning fuel.
So 145.42 was the last lap time. $144, 144.55 that time.
Dude, that one is a lot. That one's a lot cleaner. Like the other one's got more meat in the power. It's got more meat to it. So the other one, when the power's good, the power's stronger on the other one. But this one's clean all the way through. Like when you land on the jumps and stuff, like even if you're, I don't know if it's third or fourth you're in, but I land in the same gear and the bike goes to the corner. Where the other one is like, whoa, you gotta like clutch it to get it going. So it's cleaned it out and it's a lot better than the standard one. But the other one has got like more hit, you know. Like when the power comes in, it's a lot more aggressive than the other one. Like you feel, like the bike feels like it's going forward quicker. Where this one, it comes in and it's clean, but it feels like it hasn't got the same amount of torque pushing you forward as the other one does. Right. And the other one's got like, this is a bit of a lighter feel on the throttle, where the other one's got that like proper like torquey race bike, like you're getting traction. Where this one is just, it's nice and clean, but it feels like it hasn't got that like the heaviness of the. No. But man, like I like the feel of this because it's clean all the time, you know, like you're always going forward, and you don't have to work it hard because it's always there. But the feeling of that other one when the power's going, dude, mate, that is like,
I can clean it up off the bottom, but the whole thing has been done on the basis of using quite a high burn speed fuel with a rev pipe with that ignition. Okay, right. So it's a little bit different in that this one is more give it to a guy, go ride in the street with it, you know, go not ride in the street, but you could put it on just a stock production bike, go use your pump fuel, fine. The other, that ignition was found whilst trying to hunt out the last horsepower. EMX is using particular 102 unleaded race fuel, a particular fuel. You change the fuel, change the ignition. Changes everything, so we were getting past the point of just a map you could chuck on any bike with any petrol. Okay, you know, so we were getting very specific to a fuel, which this ignition isn't. This is designed really for any guy just to walk into a Yamaha shop. This is clean. Like, chuck it on your bike with the right main jet in and go ride. And you're sweet. I can feel it on the track. It's clean, like everywhere. There's like a small improvement all the way through, and it's clean all the way through. With that other one, you can feel like it's got like a big hit in places, you know, like when you if you get stuff right, that other one is just going forward, you know.
Okay, so another little change we've done here. Nev's just gone out for an outlet. We're going to do another time attack here, but we just made another little change. We swapped the pipes, still a HES pipe, but I think this one, Roland's cut this one a little bit shorter. So we're going to see what performance gains we get from this. Here we go then, hot lap with the new exhaust pipe. Here he goes. So Roland, just explain to me what you've done with this pipe and the theory behind that, what you've done to it.
Okay, so what we've actually done is we've shortened the exhaust system at the front, so that just gives the engine a nicer shape as it goes into the over rev, so it doesn't necessarily cause more power. It just means that you can hold on the gear a little bit more instead of having to shift into a corner, so it'll just rev on that little bit more, and that's the purpose of it.
Getting quicker. 144.47 that time.
That's the one, dude. That is sweet. He loves that pipe. That is fucking golden, dude. The difference, yeah,
quicker again.
But like a lot easier to go around the track, you know. It's made it like, it's quite weird. So, you know, like before I said I was in between gears. Yeah. It's sorted it out completely. It makes the bike a lot more like bottom endy, but like easier to ride, but then you can also hang the gear for longer. So it shouldn't really work like that, you know, like you shouldn't be able to like over rev the bike if you get more bottom end into it. Okay, so just finished our last little test session there. Again, like made little gains again. Obviously on the 125 it's not massive gains you're making, but every little bit helps on the little bike. And so first off, what we did, we tried a different ignition. So we tried a GYTR ignition, and straight away they made like quite a big difference. Just cleaner again, like the bike was cleaner, and just with the ignition I found that it made the bike rev on a bit more, so it just widened the window of the power. which was quite cool, which is kind of what I'm looking for in this bike, because it's got heaps of bottom and mid, like I said. So the ignition worked really good, and then I thought it was finished, but then Roland pulled out a different pipe out the back of his van. He's got like a shortened HGS pipe. Chucked that on, and it actually, like, it freaked me out a bit, because I got on the track and it felt so good, but it had like a lot more bottom, but it had a lot more top at the same time. And it kind of like threw me out a little bit, because I thought, you know, like I'm obviously getting this wrong, because obviously normally when you get one you lose the other. So I did about 3 or 4 laps and came in, like, loved the bike. Like, the bike revved on, was so much easier to ride, because you can just hang the gear so much longer, and made the power like a lot broader. And I came in and I said to Roland, like, you're gonna think I'm a little bit stupid, but it's made it the bottom end better. I found it in the tight turns before. I felt like I was in between gears and I had to go up to a 50 back sprocket, but with this pipe and the ignition on, it was perfect. Like, I was in the perfect gear, so it's quite weird. And I said to Roland, dude, it's like more bottom, and it's also got more over rev. It's quite weird. I know. And he said, well, that's exactly what the guy who tested before said. So massive gains on the pipe. I think it's just like cut short a little bit. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but yeah, now I think we've got a race bike, you know, like, for sure you could go race that bike. We've got the pipe, we've got the ignition, the V-force, the head, clutch springs, needle and jetting, and she's sweet, you know. Like, from where I started, I was happy where I started, but now, like, man, it's really cool.
So as you can see, we're already making gains on Nev's YZ125 here with these little changes that they're working on. Nev and Roland are working on today. Obviously what they are working on is quite advanced. Nev's an ex-professional rider, experienced test rider as well, so he knows what he's talking about, knows what to look for as well, so that's important. Like I say, it's quite advanced, but Roland's going to give us now his 5 easy ways, easy tips to turn your YZ125 into a certified rocket ship. So let's go talk to Roland, shall we? Right, so Roland, just to start then, if someone's bought YZ125, what are the 5 main ways they can go out and improve things straight away?
You've always got the performance of the bike, so we're looking at first off HGS exhaust. Well, certainly an exhaust system, you know. It's all right, I put my HGS hat on, I think they're the best exhaust system, but there are others. So talking about Yamaha rather than the products we particularly sell. So definitely an exhaust system. I've done a lot of testing with HGS. I find they work very, very good on a YZ125. They bring a lot of torque into it, broaden the power band a little bit, but they definitely, they take it from being a good all-round bike for anybody just hop on and ride. First time on a 125, perfect, stop bike. If you want it to go better, the HGS is the first hot up to go for. The V-force reed valve for more response and mid-range torque, again, is a very, very good product for the job. You know, when you change gear, you've got a V-force in there, it definitely pulls better. I would generally say that they are, without a shadow of a doubt, the best reed valve system on the market, and that is confirmed by the fact that the GYTR kit comes with a V-force. The VHM cylinder head, generally the engine, if you want to widen the power band, do less gear shifting and so forth. A VHM cylinder head with the right combustion chamber in it, E happens to be the part number, so 100E. That will widen the power band, won't necessarily give you any more torque or any more power. It'll allow you to run in the same gear for longer. So if you need holder gear for a corner, then you can do that more readily with the VHM head, because you've lowered the compression slightly. It makes running on fuel and so forth, you know, you don't have to run race fuel and things like that. You know, it's a lower compression. It's runs slightly cooler because of the lower compression. They're your main 3 items. You know, if you were to want to go racing as a club rider and so forth, you know, you can compete on a YZ with those parts on. Gearing, we tend to go for a 50-tooth rear. You know, they're 48 standard, so a 50-tooth rear. Ignition does make a big difference, you know, it really does pick them up. The GYTR one, straight out the box, is a good ignition, gives a good gain everywhere, as we've seen particularly with Nev today, so it's a good clean running ignition, works well with pump fuel. I find that I use a HPI one because I can adjust and modify it for more bottom, more top, or specifically running with different race fuels. But always the most important, and even like Nev Bradshaw and several other riders, they always look at me sideways when I tell them what jetting to put in it, because it is quite radically different, and you wouldn't think that it would bring a lot of performance, but it does. So, you know, it is putting in the correct needle, which does happen to come in the spares kit for the UK. So you've got a generic needle that works for the States and many other countries, but in the UK, the needle that's in the spares kit, which is the 4474 needle, is the way to go on the 3rd clip, 40 pilot, and getting there, if you're on a stock pipe like a 480 main through to like a HGS pipe, ignition, few other bits, you can find yourself on a 520 main jet.
Nev's already got those parts on his bike.
Yep.
Your bike here is a little bit different. Just talk about your project bike and those parts and what gains you would expect from those kind of changes you're making there.
Well, what we've got in there at the moment is we've got a piston change, but the reason why we've got a piston change is because we're using a longer conrod. Well, a longer conrod changes the dwell. It's maybe a long subject for a clip on YouTube, but it would stand on its own as a clip. But ultimately, you do get more power, you get more torque, more mid-range, mid to top power with a longer conrod, which we run, and then we run a different piston to compensate for that. So that's basically the engine change on there. So the cylinder's been modified, the crank mass has been lifted, so it's got a high weight crank in it, which again helps with the way the engine goes into the over rev. You don't really see a gain in horsepower with heavy cranks in the dyno, but you do see that they drive further, and you can see a different shape on the dyno as it went at high RPM, so the engine holds on better. Then going through, that bike has also got a super finished gearbox, and a lot of the clutch parts and so forth, all the steel parts within the clutch system and so forth have all been super finished, because there is a little bit of a gain over a new bike. If you were to take a bike that had done, say for instance there's half, 3/4 of a horsepower, whatever, in super finishing a gearbox, well that's from new. A lot of people that are buying a new bike, they keep it for a year, they maybe, if it's their race bike, they're only going to do 20 or 30 hours on it. The gearbox is hardly run in when they're selling it. You know, so by this we're effectively, in the nicest possible way, running a gearbox in. So by super finishing it, you're making it better than if you did 100 hours on it, but you're getting all the benefits of the 100 hours without some of the horrible wear of damaged dogs and other bits being worn badly. So it's a nicely uniform way of polishing and running a gearbox in. So you get the best gearbox from day one, and this bike has got that modification to the gearbox. So it's a bit of a development bike at the moment, you know, it's not something I've done thousands of hours with, so it'd be interesting to get Neville's feedback.
Right, we're going to end this video then with Nev doing 2 hot laps, one on his bike, which we made a couple of adjustments to here today, with those 5 easy ways to make your YZ125 or a Rocketship. Anyone can do that. The hot lap he's doing right now though is on Roland Hardcore Racing's project bike, development bike. This has some more fancier adjustments, long rod conversion, super polished gearbox, things like that, as Roland just told us. So Nev's out on a hot lap on that now to see what difference all of those fancy changes make. So it'll be an interesting way to finish up the video. Thanks for watching everyone. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe and all of that. Let's end this with Nev's hot laps. Let's go. Dude.
Oh, strong, man. Touch it to keep the front end down from the turns and stuff. It's
really?
Gnarly, yeah. It's like a proper race bike though. Like you gotta ride it hard. Like when you go
Yeah, you gotta go ride it properly. Yeah.
You can't like ride it like.
Obviously, we didn't do the lap times there, but I'll do it on the GoPro. What do you reckon you'd be quicker on? If you had to guess.
Like on a fast lap, this bike would be quicker.
Yeah.